Chair.
Thanks, Senator Coons. Senator Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thanks to all of our witnesses who have joined us today. Mr. Payne, let me start with you, sir. You're kind of in the middle here. You work for the Campaign Legal Center, is that right?
That's correct.
Is your website campaignlegal.org?
Correct.
Okay. Does not the front page of your website say, I'm going to quote here, I want to get it right, the current U.S. Supreme Court is a threat to our democracy. The current U.S. Supreme Court is a threat to our democracy. Did I read that right?
What I can say is that our organization...
But is that on your website?
I am not certain exactly what's on the website.
Here it is, right here,
Okay.
big as Dallas.
What that refers to is the voting rights legislation, voting rights cases of the Supreme Court. Our organization is a voting rights organization that fights for all Americans to have the ability to vote.
Yeah, but you got to click a bunch of times to find that explanation. I just want to make sure I read that correctly. A few months ago, Mr. Payne, you retweeted the following statement. Some justices are politicians in robes who thrive in a system where access and influence are for sale. Some justices are politicians in robes who thrive in a system where access and influence are for sale.
What's up, Patriots? Welcome back to the Red State. I just watched Senator John Kennedy absolutely grill a left-wing activist during a Senate hearing. And folks, it was something else. This was one of those moments where you sit back and say, finally, somebody's saying what the rest of us are thinking. Now, if you haven't seen it, Kennedy was questioning this guy named Mr. Payne, who works for something called the Campaign Legal Center. Sounds neutral, right? Well, spoiler alert, it's not. Kennedy starts off calm, respectful, and then goes straight for facts. He pulls up their website, campaignlegal.org, and right there, plain as day, it says, the current U.S. Supreme Court is a threat to our democracy. Let that sink in. A so-called legal advocacy group, calling our Supreme Court a threat to democracy. I mean, come on. The Supreme Court is democracy in action. It's literally the branch that interprets the Constitution. The same Constitution that keeps our freedom safe from government overreach. But because the left doesn't like the decisions coming out of this court, suddenly it's a threat.
Now, that's a pretty bold statement.
I'm sorry, Senator, is that a news article?
No, sir. That's a retweet here. You tweeted this out. Tell me which justices are for sale.
I don't recall that tweet, but...
Here it is. November 21, 2022. Can you tell me which justices are for sale?
No.
Are any of them for sale?
No, the problem is that the American public has a perception that some justices may be.
I'm going to establish the point first. I want to know, you tweeted this out. Do you believe that some justices are for sale? And if so, which ones?
No, Senator, I do not believe that justices are for sale.
Then why'd you tweet this out?
Can you provide more context of what that is?
Sure, I'll get you a copy, but here it is. I checked it and triple-checked it. You also said less than a month ago that John Roberts, you retweeted this out. John Roberts is a disgrace.
No, I actually...
I disagree with Justice Roberts. Well, you didn't call him Chief Justice Roberts. You called him John Roberts.
No, this is...
You retweeted this.
No, Senator, I did not retweet that.
Yes, sir, you did, right here.
I will need to see. Can you provide a copy to me now? But
sure.
I did not retweet.
Can you tell me why you think Chief Justice Roberts is a disgrace?
I did not say that, did not retweet that.
Oh, okay. Maybe Twitter got it wrong.
Someone got it wrong.
Let me ask you this, because the unstated premise of all this, sometimes it's stated, but the unstated premise of all this is that some justices have been bribed. Let's just cut to the chase. Okay? Now, let me stay with you, Mr. Payne. Well, let me go to Mr. Fogel. I don't want to just pick on you, Mr. Payne. You can be looking up on Twitter where you said those things. On April 4th, 2019, the American Civil Liberties Union paid for Justice Sotomayor's trip to San Juan, Puerto Rico. You ever been to San Juan, Mr. Fogel? Is it expensive?
I keep forgetting. Well, it depends when you go.
Yeah. How much do you think it costs to go down there?
Depends whether you fly first class or economy.
What if you fly first class?
Oh, probably a couple $1,000s.
Okay.
Yeah.
The ACLU, do they have cases in front of the Supreme Court?
All the time.
They do, all the time?
Sure.
Do you think the ACLU was trying to bribe Justice Sotomayor?
No, sir, I don't.
I don't either. I don't either. But that's the unstated premise of all of this.
Well, Senator, if I
all
may...
these articles about Justice Clarence Thomas and the Chief Justice in the United States and Justice Gorsuch, who sold an interest in an LLC to a Democratic donor who had never met, that they bought him, isn't it?
May I say something in response, Senator? I think there are two things going on here today. I think there is a political conflict, which is, as I said earlier, it's very intense. It's hyper-partisan. Both sides have things to say. And then I think there's an ethical issue.
When you accuse people of being bribed, it kind of gets their attention.
Sir, hold on a second. I'm not accusing anybody of being bribed. I'm not.
But some people are.
Some people are. The reason I'm here is I think that there is an ethical issue that, as Senator Graham said earlier, it would be good for the court to think about in terms of being more transparent. That is what I care about. That's the only thing I care about. There's a lot of political back and forth that's very interesting. I'm very interested in it as a citizen of the United States. But I think the most useful thing that this or any other committee could do is think about how do we make our institutions...
Well, how are you going to do that in the context, though, of one of our leaders, for whom I have great respect, going on the steps of the United States Supreme Court, telling two justices if they vote in a way he doesn't like, they will pay the price and reap the whirlwind. And you have another one of your witnesses here tweeting out stuff saying, quote, some justices are politicians in robes who thrive in a system where access and influence are for sale.
Yep.
He said they were bought like a sack of potatoes.
Okay, I'm not going to comment on that, Senator. That's not anything I had anything to do with. So,
did I hear the gavel?
I think you did.
I hope. Thank you, Senator Kennedy.
Translation: we only believe in democracy when we win. Then Kennedy pulls out some receipts, tweets, retweets, whatever you want to call them, where this guy supposedly said, some justices are politicians in robes who thrive in a system where access and influence are for sale. Now, you and I both know what that means. That's calling Supreme Court justices corrupt. So Kennedy asked the obvious question, okay, which justices are for sale? And suddenly this guy can't remember. He's like, I don't recall that tweet. Oh, really? You just forgot tweeting something that explosive? This is the classic liberal dodge. Throw out accusations to poison the well, then play dumb when called out. They want the headline, not the truth. And here's where it gets interesting. Kennedy brings up that in 2019, the ACLU paid for Justice Sonia Sotomayor's trip to Puerto Rico. He asked another witness, do you think the ACLU was trying to bribe her? And even the witness admits, no, I don't think so. Exactly. So when a liberal justice gets treated as something nice, it's educational or routine. But when conservative justices like Clarence Thomas or Neil Gorsuch get invited to an event or make a personal financial decision, suddenly it's corruption and crisis. It's hypocrisy at its finest. The left isn't mad about ethics. They're mad about power. Because this court, this conservative court, stand between them and absolute control over America's laws, our schools, and even our speech. Let's talk about what the real threat to democracy is. It's not Clarence Thomas taking a vacation. It's not Neil Gorsuch selling property. It's when politicians, like Senator Schumer, stand on the steps of the Supreme Court and threaten justices by name, saying they'll pay the price and reap the whirlwind. That's intimidation. That's mob politics. And that's exactly what the founders warned us about. Senator Kennedy nailed it. This constant drumbeat of corruption stories isn't about transparency. It's about tearing down trust in the court so that when the left loses, they can say, the system's rigged. Sound familiar? Yeah, it's the same tactic they use against everything they can't control. Here's the truth, folks. The Supreme Court isn't perfect, but it's sacred. It's the final defense line between freedom and tyranny. And the reason the left is attacking it so viciously is because this court still believes in the Constitution, not in the woke political flavor of the month. That's why I'll say it proudly. I stand with Senator Kennedy. I stand with the court. And I stand with anyone who's willing to defend America's institutions from partisan destruction. Because once we lose faith in the Supreme Court, the last neutral branch we've got, we lose the rule of law itself. And that, my friends, is the real threat to our democracy. So if you're tired of the hypocrisy, tired of the attacks, and tired of watching the left destroy every pillar of this country just to stay in power, hit that like button, share this video, and make sure you're subscribed. Because here we speak truth. We stand for God, country, and the Constitution. Thanks for watching, Patriots. And as always, God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.